there. Welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late today. This week's topic of discussion, as always, the topics are anything newsworthy about racism, bigotry, inequality, and corruption in America. And unfortunately, like I always say, that's everything. This show is meant to be an opportunity for viewers to speak their voice and have them, listen to, hopefully, but also to serve as an educational tool for white folks who want to learn the truth about systemic racism in America. There's a little more to it than just going out and protesting. It's a great start, but there's more. And so if we're going to go out there and protest, we might as well learn as much as we can. And once you start learning, you'll never want to stop because our real racial history is off the charts. Not in a good way, but in a good way that we could actually become knowledgeable about the truth. So if you're there, please say hi. Don't be shy. We might have a small audience tonight, but that will make it more personal. So I wanted to start by introducing myself to anyone who's new. I'm Angry Soccer Mom, more disappointed in my fellow humans than angry. Sometimes angry, sometimes really angry, but not very often. And if you like what you see here, please consider coming on and subscribing to my YouTube channel. And ring the bell if you want to see when I put out videos. I put out a lot of videos. Quick announcements. I want to thank everyone who's been supporting me wonderfully by sending me breaking news each day. As you know, in the Trump administration, since he's all about racism, all about corruption, all about inequality, and all about bigotry, he's kept me really busy, as I'm sure you're well aware. So I can't keep up. So if you want to send me any information, I would appreciate it. I love breaking news that has no children in it. Because the thing, there's this law with YouTube that they've been they got sued, so they've been pushing big time, closing channels and stuff like that. So I gotta be really careful with 13 and under kids. But anything else is fair game. I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Instagram at angry_soccer mom, and the telephone number if you want to call in after the rant. That would be absolutely fine. I limit it to about 5 minutes. Is 347. I guess I could put that up. 347. I'll stick it right here. 347-732-5284. So don't be shy to call in after the rant and tell me what you think. And I'm also on I'm on Twitter too. David. Hello. Good to have you. What do you have to say? Let me just get my stuff straightened out here. So good to see you tonight. It wasn't a good. Oh, I'm sorry. I sure hope so for that health and longevity of this nation. But I'm sorry you had a rough week. It's, unfortunately, I think things are gonna get worse and worse. Not to be the soothsayer of doom, but let's be real. The man is desperate, and desperate people do a lot of strange things and mean things in his case. Lots going on. Twitter, you can find me at Imagine No Hate on Twitter. I wanted to go over a couple more announcements, and then I'll do a rant, and we'll talk about whatever anybody wants to. Let me see. And there's the number on there. I finally put it on there. I want to hold chat parties during each of the debates. There's 3 presidential debates, and there's 1 vice presidential debate. So I'm going to try to do chat parties for all of them. If you're new, what a chat party means is I basically stream it on my, channel, and then people can talk in real time, because a lot of people don't have people in their house who will sit and watch it with them. And if you're more interested than other people, then that's something you can do with me, and I'll chat with you. Sound bad? Oh, the sound's not good. No one told me. Is it okay now? I've been told the sound is not good. Let me know if you can't hear me well. Please let me know, because I'm having a little trouble with that. So just to go really quickly, the first presidential debate is September 29th in Cleveland. The next one is October 15th. And the final one is October 22nd. Jamie, hello. Thank you for being here. We got a lot to talk about. And then the one for the vice president is October 7th. So if you want to have a friend to watch it with, or invite friends and have a chat, I'd love it because I do like chatting through it and I don't really watch it with anyone but myself. So I'm going to try to do that. I have very happy that people are here. Oh, you can barely hear me. Uh-oh. Is that better? Is that any better, Jamie? Or no? Is that, I can't hear it well either. I will have to call back the engineer in the house and figure it out. I am so sorry. Let me just check a few things. Being able to hear is very important. I will get a hold of him. Excuse me, Mr. Engineer, can you help us? I've been told no one can hear very well. Is that any better by any chance? Anybody? I'll wait for a response. Now they can't hear me at all. Let me know if that's better, because supposedly we might have fixed the problem. No comment from anybody? Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to start a rant and then we'll talk about anything you want to talk about. I have a few things planned, but I'd love you to bring up topics. Can you guys hear me any better or no? Okay. We're working on it. Sorry about that. 1 second. Good? Okay. Thanks. Turn this up, maybe?
No, it does nothing.
It does nothing. Okay. Okay. Hopefully that's a little bit better, but I haven't gotten a response from anybody, so maybe not. All right. So I had a number of topics I wanted to rant about. God knows I love ranting. However, the one I picked is really negative, but kind of positive. I'll try to yell. Really negative, but kind of positive. You'll see why. And unfortunately, because Trump is continuously being basically like a racist, you know what, all the time, and bigoted, misogynistic, and just really horrible, he's constantly the talk of the show, which is really annoying. But I am hoping that will end soon, but I'm not sure. So my rant is about him, and it's not a stretch to say that Trump and his administration have been a total catastrophe on pretty much everything. They've been a catastrophe on pretty much everything. So it's really not a big stretch, especially talking to everyone here, to say that his administration and him have been a catastrophe. 2020 has been a heartbreaking disaster for a lot of us who care about our fellow humans and the longevity of our democratic republic. And that being said, I feel obligated to say it's not over yet. And as we speak, Russia, China, Iran are very likely seeking to influence our 2020 presidential election, according to our own intelligence officials. And yes, this is the same Russia that interfered with the 2020 election. Trump's done so many things to cheat to try to win. I'm not even talking about the gerrymandering. I'm not talking about the threats that he, holds over people's heads to, if they're a Republican and, you better go along with me or else I'll turn my people against you. That's going on. He's a con man and that's what he does. He's just done so many things to try to win with the help or simply the inaction of the Republican politicians that I cannot mention them all. We'd be here all day. However, I will mention my favorite one. The reason it's my favorite is because it's the most disgusting one that has been allowed and gone unchecked. And that is in 2016, Trump hired psychological operations firm called Cambridge Analytica, who's now a debunked company, but they started a new one and he had hired them as well. But I have not seen a thing in the newspaper about it. Cambridge Analytica, their job was to reach individuals through stolen Facebook data and use brainwashing techniques to push people in purple states towards voting for Trump. And when I say brainwashing techniques, I mean brainwashing techniques. I don't mean like trying to say, hey, vote for him. What they would do essentially is they'd target individuals. It wasn't like a group thing. Very, very specific. They target individuals and in purple states, and they target the people who are the most vulnerable, who kind of are on the fence. And what they do is they put subliminals, what we call subliminals, but they're not. They're just advertisements on the side with a lot of outrageous things. And there's a special order to them, and they customize them for the person. I mean, this stuff's a science, social science. It's a science. It's unbelievable. These psyops are the same tactics used by our own military on nations that we consider to be enemies of the state. We've used it a bunch of times. It's documented. I cannot make this stuff up if I try. The truth is, Cambridge Analytica credited themselves for the Trump win. Did you ever wonder why Mark Zuckerberg claimed free speech when he was confronted about why in the hell he allows lies on his political Facebook ads? And he, for the most part, he still does. He sometimes checks them a little more, but this was his thing. He is buddies with Trump, and they met a number of times, and this is their thing. It's all pretty well documented. Well, all this meddling may still sound kind of shocking, like, okay, we're getting normalized with it a little bit, but we are in America, and this is what's happening. Our elections are being influenced by other countries, and we're not doing a goddamn thing about it. It's really scary. The truth is, Russia's meddled in 27 other countries from 2004 to now. This is not anything new, and our national government knows all about it. They meddled in the affairs of 27 European and North American countries from 2004 with the interference ranging from cyber attacks to disinformation campaigns. And this is according to The Guardian and a billion other newspapers. So PSYOPs is huge. It's absolutely huge, and it works. And it's brainwashing. It's pretty bad. So, Trump won the Electoral College in the 2016, hands down. And, the man is the most corrupt, racist, bigoted, misogynist. I've never seen anything in my lifetime, if ever. But Trump's uncontrollable, corrupt behavior started way before he was ever elected. You just had to Google him, and you'd find, the man recalled the Central Park Five and the horrific thing he did to those kids. They were children. It's easy to forget all this because he's just bombarded us with more and more and more. Every day, the news cycle is like a 3-hour, turns over in 3 hours. It's crazy. And it's very purposeful. We can't keep up. Neither can the news. So we lose a lot of stuff that is really important. So that's why I count on you guys to bring me stuff that you want to talk about that maybe didn't make it into the news. I count on all of you. I blame it on you. Just kidding. But the Central Park Five, and then there was multiple discrimination suits against him. He was known as a bad guy in New York City, that's for sure. He was known as like a mobster. The fact is that as we sit today, Trump has had 3,500 lawsuits to date. Okay, that's ludicrous. I'm sorry, 3,000 plus. Some of them, really, really bad, but all of them bad enough for somebody to choose to litigate. You might recall just days before the 2020 election, the same woman who had alleged that Trump and billionaire Jeffrey Epstein raped her in 1994 when she was 13 years old, dropped her lawsuit for the second time. And that sticks with me, like it just stands out for a number of really sick reasons. But the first time, there were witnesses in the room when they raped her. People saw it. That's not really I don't know. I think most people kind of get that from what I've heard and what I've seen of the videos and what I've read. But they were too afraid to testify. So clearly they've been threatened in some way. I don't know, but you can only imagine. This time there were numerous threats against the accuser. So she abruptly dropped the lawsuit. She'd been scheduled to speak publicly, just before the election. And then she just dropped out like 24 hours in advance. It might've been.
On a personal note, I had the bad luck of running into some official court documents for this case. And so, of course, I started to read them. Stupid, silly me. I almost threw up. Um, I will not go into them because it's so vile. It was transcripts. Um, and let's just say the child had never had sex before, ever. And the conversation documented details between a fight by Epstein and Trump about who would get to rape her first, be the first. I mean, I'm talking, this is some sick shit. And she's done interview after interview. Um, I I wish I could tell you more. I could post the transcripts. It was just disgusting. Ronald, yay! Thanks for being here. You're missing nothing. So, what's the point of this horrific walk down horror lane I'm presenting right now? With this man that I consider the de facto modern leader of the Ku Klux Klan and the world, really. Well, there is some light, a little bit, maybe. According to Ibram X. Kendi of The Atlantic, we're living in the midst of an anti racism revolution in America. I definitely want to know what you think of that. He says, this year we've had demonstrations calling for racial justice that have brought hundreds of thousands of people in over 2,000 cities across America and the United and other countries. And they're still going on. In fact, they're still going on to the point where a lot of media isn't covering it, but they're still going on. And it's really important to see what's happening. And I won't be covering this tonight, but there are some serious civil rights violations that appear to be going on. I'm not an attorney, so I wouldn't know the specifics, but I'm talking, from basically, it's like a war zone. And the reason it's not in your, a lot of people think, oh, it's not in my city, that's them, but it's not in your city, but it could be. And that's the thing. If it's in someone else's city, they'll use it on yours next. Trump's, said he would. And he has. What's going on now is just, it looks to me from all the videos I've been watching every day, protesters go out and the police, who are completely, wearing military garb, and they pretty much just decide they've had it and start attacking people. I'm not even exaggerating. It's totally out of control. I looked at a video today that it was about 12 minutes long, but it had every single thing that's happened in the last month, and it was out of control. So today is my 100th live show. I thought it would be fitting to talk about where this nation has come, because when you're living it, especially, I'm assuming, if you're a person who is Black, brown, indigenous, or a person of color, or something like that, it must feel like we've gone backwards 100 years and not going anywhere. But today I started thinking, when I first started doing online activism, and this is well after I worked in Compton during the LA riots, this is years after, most white Americans weren't even familiar with the word reparations. And polls show that right now in America, more than half of white adults in America, actually not right now, but at the time, they didn't know the word reparations. And at the time, more than half adults thought we were in a post-racial era. More than half. And it was like a Reuters study. It was a decent study. So here's the silver lining to it all, if we can call it that, to all this corruption and hate. Lakeisha! Oh, can't hear me. I will get the engineer again. I do not know what's going on here. Let me just get him. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening with my... Ta-da. Should I try to yell, maybe? If I talk like this, can you hear me better? I'm like screaming. Wow. So the silver lining, well, when I first started on online activism, most white Americans weren't even familiar with the word reparations, and polls showed that more than half of them believed microphone. More than half of them believe that we're in a post-racial era. That's obnoxious and horrific and so off base, it's not even funny. Post-racial era, hell, we're still in the Civil War as far as, statistics are concerned, and regarding inequality. So here's the silver lining to it all. By June, last June, roughly 3 out of 4 Americans were saying that racial and ethnic discrimination is a big problem in America. And that is a huge change. That's a huge change. So consider how difficult it is to shift. Oh, excuse me. People say they can't hear me still.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh,
Touchdown.
okay. I'm going to try one more thing. I apologize for the. One more thing.
I can hear you, but I
Okay.
got my volume all the way up. Stop it when I turn the volume.
Can you turn your volume all the way up? Global Entertainment, welcome. I am so sorry, Lakeisha. It's up as much as it can be.
Yeah.
The engineer says there's nothing he can do. He's going to work on it. I need to continue this.
Okay.
So if you consider how difficult it is to shift public opinion over years, this is something that's pretty important. This is a fast shift, and it should have been faster. This should have been handled centuries ago. Let's be real. This is ridiculous that we even have to discuss systemic racism, but we not only have to discuss it, that and capitalism on steroids are 2 huge issues in America, and they really kind of, that have this sick symbiotic relationship with one another. So I'm sorry. I'm not sure what we can do about the weak signal. I have everything turned up as much as I can. So I guess we'll have to work on it when I'm off, but I'll yell if that helps. According to Kendi, who wrote a cover story for The Atlantic, it's the end of denial. He says we're in the end of denial. Now, of course, there are always people who are going to deny it, but quite frankly, that's a lot more of the extremes. And I think they're lying anyway. I think they know they're just denying it to be jerks. Nathaniel, hello, welcome. Okay, let me just see. What can I close that's not? I hear people are having trouble. This channel is buffering a lot for us right now. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Is anyone else having trouble? Because I will definitely work on it. So he thinks that we're in this age where the denial has ended, and I sure as heck hope so. I tend to agree with him, hopefully. And you know what? It really doesn't matter what I think because it matters what reality is. But honestly, oh, yay, Nathaniel, thank you. Okay. I mean, I'm not happy for people who can't hear me, but at least somebody can. Thanks. I appreciate it. Today, I have some prepared subjects, but I want to talk about anything you want to. And you can also call in the numbers on this if you just scroll a little bit. Today, I don't know if you've seen the news, but journalist Bob Woodward's new book is coming out. And of course, everyone's gotten a sneak preview, and it's really bad. But honestly, when I say bad, I mean good. But okay, I'll just keep going. That's one of my things I've prepped for. Protesters are now being charged with terrorism. That's one of Trump's strategies. And hopefully it'll get better soon. Okay, gotcha. And thanks, Global Entertainment. I'm not sure what's happening. I want to talk a little about for-profit healthcare and remdesivir. And that is a drug that doesn't cure COVID-19, but supposedly it really does shorten the time that the person's sick and how sick they are. So it's definitely something that the whole world's using, and we're running out. That's just a little hint for what the conversation is going to be about. And oh, we make it in the US. Yeah, that. So, oh, quick warning, not like I need to tell you, but I truly believe it is going to get much, much worse. Um, wow, I'm a real rocket scientist here, huh? As he gets more and more desperate, uh, he's a man, Trump's a man who gets away with whatever he wants to get away with. He is truly above the law right now. And I think I've made this crystal clear that personally, I believe if he wins again, our Democratic Republic is over. There won't be an announcement. It'll simply be that the law does not touch him and he is running a regime and he stays as long as he wants. At this point, Vernon, hi, thanks for being here. Yay. At this point, I got to say, he's circumvented the law, and a lot of ways he's done this, as you guys know, is simply by doing things that are not considered traditional. Many of the traditions we've found out aren't laws. They were just traditions. So there's no way to enforce them. And another thing, many of the things that were laws have no repercussions for enforcement. Don't ask me why, but that's a real rough place to be. So he's getting away with stuff, and he's getting away with more stuff. And he's circumventing the Constitution, or at least the spirit of it. And I, quite frankly, think we're doomed. So you tell me what you want to talk about. I know there was a 13-year-old autistic child that was shot after the mom called the police because they were supposed to send out a mental health care unit. Instead, they sent out police who almost killed him. He's in the hospital still. I couldn't post it on my YouTube because 13's the cutoff age, and they're really strict about anything like that. But he, the thing is, at some point, white folks and everybody, I mean, mostly white folks, are going to have to understand, because white folks are the ones who basically don't, that what happens to one of our fellow humans could happen to all of us. Like what's happening in, Washington State, what's happening in Portland. I made it. Yeah, made it for the Century Show. Yay! Yeah, this is my 100th show, so it's kind of cool for me. Makes me happy because I was very shy, and I ate alone in the library every day of my life in high school. I did not have any friends. I'm not telling you this to feel sorry for me, but I've come a long ways being comfortable enough to talk to people, and now I never shut up, which is a whole nother issue. But so what's happening, and the reason I say this is simply because we kind of watch what happens in other places, and it's really interesting. But when they take away their rights and steal them off the streets for protesting, and nonviolently protesters get, hit with bullets and gassed, and that's our house is next. And you guys don't need me to tell you that. So this is really, really scary. The new traditions that we've started with this man are quite regime-like, as you all know. And the lies, oh my God, the lies. I mean, he's following the footsteps of Hitler and other dictators and people who, there's a pattern. This has been studied. I mean, this is not something, what is he doing? He's following, if you look at Robert Reich's, some of his writing, and many others as well, they'll just outline exactly what he's been doing. And he's following suit at every step. Did I ever think in a million years we'd be here about to reelect somebody, hopefully not him, and think, you know what, I think he's going to win again? And no, that would be a no. But then again, I didn't think anyone would possibly consider an inhumane person for president. And the reason is simple. It's kind of like, it's like a top-down thing. If you're inhumane, every decision you make is based on your inhumanity. So we're not privy to every decision that the president does, everything he hears, everything, but it's who he is. So when you elect somebody who's basically most, racist, bigoted, misogynistic, like horrible guy, what exactly did we expect? He's outdone himself. So today, there's a little sneak peek from Bob Woodward's new book. And I want to talk about it a little bit and see what you guys think. This is just out today. Today, Robert Wright passed an article on that was written by Robert Costa and Philip Rucker. The article told about the journalist Bob Woodward's new book called Rage. It's the second book. This one, which details for the first time numerous on the record interviews with Trump, which the president made a number of very shocking statements. They weren't shocking in the sense that we all knew he was saying it, but that he said it. And he knew it was on the record. This wasn't like a sneaky thing or something. Global entertainment. America would have to go to socialism for everyone to have free medical insurances. I think that's, how do I explain that? I don't know that we will ever have socialism. And I have a video on it, and socialism is very misunderstood. To have social services, and we've always had social in our communities. We've always had things like social security. That's social, So socialism, we don't have to do that. Many countries are not socialist. In fact, I believe we're the only country that is considered at the level we're at development wise that does not have universal health care. We're the only one, and it's not even a close call. All the rest of them have had it long ago. And we, our healthcare program is for profit. And I'm going to be talking about that a little bit later tonight, because it really does matter. Whether you have insurance or not, more than half the people who go bankrupt in America do so because of medical bills. No, they are not buying yachts like the wealthy, elites are. No, they are not, overbuying mansions and beautiful cars. They're trying to pay their freaking bills because somebody in their family is sick. And to have for-profit health care in the supposed wealthy nation that we have makes me sick, as does for-profit prisons. I don't think we have good morals in America. You might personally have good morals, but we as a whole don't. America would have to fundamentally change to get better for the people of America. Absolutely. Huge fundamental changes. Huge. We truly believe, and I'm sorry, I say this with a heavy heart. I don't believe this. America is not standing for what I believe in, and hasn't for quite some time. I want to say forever, but I do not want to live in an America where my neighbor doesn't go to the hospital, doesn't go to the doctor for a curable disorder, and dies because of it. That's sick. That's messed up. I think healthcare at a certain level, it is a human right when you're in the position that our country's in. We can give healthcare to everybody, no problem. We just don't want to. And that speaks to our immorality as a whole. I'm not, pinpointing any one person, but this is sick shit, you guys. And we are the only country that's doing this. So a lot of people here don't travel around, or maybe they don't look up and do research or whatever. Not you guys, but just in general. And other countries have universal health care. All right, they're not socialist. So it doesn't, labeling something socialist is a whole different ballgame. But anyway, so perhaps there's a lot that came out in this Rage book, and I might even get a copy of it. I'm very interested. Unlike, he said, she said stuff like that, he has it all recorded. Every detail. I don't know, there was like 18 recorded videos that he did over time for this book. They were just shooting the shit on the phone, I just put up a video today that tells about it. Perhaps the most shocking and despicable of them all is his admission in a February 7th call. Trump admitted that this virus is deadly stuff, and he said, you just breathe the air and that's how it's passed, Trump said to this, person who's writing the book, Woodward. And so he says that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's more deadly than even your most strenuous flus. Mario, welcome. Welcome to the show. We're just talking about the Woodward book. And we've got a little teaser from it today out as breaking news. And I don't know if it'll matter, quite frankly. People who believe that he is good, I don't believe that they believe this because, unless they don't know what good means, but overanalyzing it. It basically admits that he knew all this, and we kind of knew he knew, but he has the tapes. So at the time he was admitting how horrendous it was going to be, Trump was telling Americans that the virus was no worse than the flu and that it would soon disappear, and that, during a March 19th call, Trump plainly admitted that he was going to play it down. So there you have it, friends. The president admitted on tape that he knew how deadly the virus was and deliberately chose not to act, all the while pretending everything was fine and under control, while he got twice a day tested and traced if anyone had it in the White House. He's fine. He truly is a horrendous human being. And a lot of people by default are going to still vote for him. People who are holding out their votes. Nope, I can't bear what Biden did. And I get that. And I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I can say with, a lot of certainty, it's not my opinion, just my opinion. It's the opinion of many people who actually know a lot of stuff about our Constitution, about the economy, about dictatorships and regimes. Many feel, Robert Reich being one of them, that our country will not withstand another Trump, another minute, let alone another 4 years, and that'll be it. No one's going to announce we're in a regime. It's not going to be like announcements. It's just going to be little things, slowly, just like Germany. Little things slowly, like things like stopping people from protesting nonviolently, shooting protesters who are nonviolently protesting, gassing them, limiting them. Let me think of another one. Changing laws so that it's considered terrorism if you protest. So these things are happening now. I don't even know what to say. It's crazy. But all I know is that nearly 200,000 Americans are dead because of Trump's refusal to act. And he just admitted it in this new book coming out September 15th, that he absolutely knew it, which we all kind of knew. He's not stupid. He's not out of his league. He knew exactly what he was doing. He chose to let Americans die. Leslie, yay! Thanks for being here. Good to have you. I almost called your number because I was trying to get you to remember it was tonight. Thanks for coming on. There are no words to describe the depth of cruelty. If I had a loved one or friend die, I would be livid. Okay, I'm livid now, but I can't imagine. So that's the scoop on this book. Anybody think they're going to read it, maybe? Or I have a video on it that I wanted to play for you. I just put it on my YouTube channel, and interestingly, it's kind of like breaking news. So I wanted to play that just for a minute. And please, during the video, let me know what you think. It's not that long, but they really summed it up so well. I kind of felt like I needed to do it. So here it is, hopefully. And basically, what did he know and when did he know it is what these people want to know. And so you'll be able to hear it, hopefully. Hopefully. If you can't, let me know. Hasn't started yet. But
so remember, for those of us from Watergate, Howard Baker, what did the president know and when did he know it? That's what Bob Woodward lays out in this book. And what we know is from Woodward's that on January 28th, his national security advisor, Robert O'Brien, tells him in a top secret briefing, this is going to be the greatest threat of your presidency. At the same time, the president is, as you said, playing it down. But what Woodward did with the president's permission was he recorded all of these interviews. There are 18 wide-ranging interviews. And what we're going to play you first is the president in his own words, February 7th, telling Woodward in striking detail just how much he understands about how deadly and dangerous the virus is.
And so what was President Xi saying yesterday?
Well, we were talking mostly about the virus, and I think he's going to have it in good shape. But you know, it's a very tricky situation.
Indeed,
it goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. You know, people don't realize we lose 25,000, 30,000 people a year here. Who would ever think that, right?
I know. It's
pretty amazing. And then I say, well, is that the same thing? This is more deadly. This is 5 per. You know, this is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. You know, so this is deadly stuff.
John, I just want all of us to remember we are used to the virus now, as used as you can be. But if you go back to the beginning of February, the American public, we thought this was a problem in China. The notion of it being airborne, 5% more deadly. These are very specific details that the president had in the very same time period that he is saying it's all going to go away.
Right, that's February 7th. You just played that piece
February
of the conversation.
7th.
He talks about how deadly it is. He said 2 weeks later, 20 days later in India, it's a problem that's going to go away. Within a couple of days, it's going to be down to 0. The president telling Woodward one thing, telling the American people in the world something very different. But the interesting part is the president makes no bones about it, that he was doing this on purpose, that he decided as a strategy not to convey the seriousness of this because he didn't want to, quote, incite a panic.
Correct. So Woodward does another interview March 19th. We also have the audio of that. Again, the president in his own words. And just to set this up, remember, he has been publicly minimizing the threat to young people. Not a problem for young people. He still minimizes the threat to young people. So he addresses that, and then you'll hear he admits that he's not sharing everything he knows.
Now it's turning out it's not just old people, Bob. Just today and yesterday, some startling facts came out. It's not just older people, to plenty of young people.
So
what's going on
give me a moment of talking to somebody, going through this with Fauci or somebody who kind of it caused a pivot in your mind, because it's clear just from what's on the public record that you went through a pivot on this to, oh my God, the gravity is almost inexplicable and unexplainable.
Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you,
Sure, I want you to.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes.
Because I don't want to create a panic.
You know, but John, this wasn't just about panic. The White House, we know, is very concerned about the economy. The president is very concerned about getting reelected. And what I think you have to just remind people is we've put together some of what the president is saying at the same time publicly in stark contrast.
The virus. They're working hard. Looks like by April, you know, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. I hope that's true. But we're doing great in our country. China, I spoke with President Xi, and they're working very, very hard. And I think it's going to all work out fine.
And again, when you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to 0,
That's a pretty good job we've done. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
Yes.
And from our shores, it could get worse before it gets better. It could maybe go away. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows. Stay calm. It will go away. You know it is going away, and it will go away, and we're going to have a great victory.
So that's that. Apparently, the book tells a lot more. The book's not out yet. When you say America will become China, I think we might be lucky. We might actually be lucky to become China. And I mean that in the scariest way. I think we'll be much worse off than China, to be honest. We're now nearly 200,000 death and counting. And here's the thing that I don't get. Yeah, absolutely wrong. I don't get. I mean, I understand that people are really, really sad when somebody dies, but I don't understand how he's getting away with this. I still can't get tested if I want to. I cannot get tested. How do I know this? I asked my doctor. Went in for something else, and I said, if I wanted to get a test, could I? And she said, no. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. And we've let him get away with this. We have let him murder our fellow humans, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles. And I don't see it in the news. Where's the outrage? He's still doing nothing. In fact, he lied the other day and said that the Democrats want to slow down testing. And it's like a joke. He's the freaking president of the United States. He's so full of it. He wants to slow down testing. In fact, he never really ramped testing up to begin with. So, I mean, this is all just insanity. And I'm really sad to see our country end. Quite frankly, I'm going to be real honest tonight. And you'll probably have something to say about this. And I'll never stop trying my best to educate white folks about our real racial history. But if he wins, I'm moving. And that's not a threat. That's just the truth. I'm leaving. I'm not going to do this. And I'm really lucky I can say that. Not everybody can say that they're going to leave the country. Global entertainment. We knew, he just lies about what he knows. Right? I mean, he's ridiculous. We're learning just how racist this nation really is. And it's eye-opening to the max. Oh my God, it is. This, it's sort of crazy, but this, I'm just laughing because, people have kind of kept it, on the down low, I guess you could say it. But after Trump started, fanning the flames and really encouraging people, we have seen, and like the rant I just did, we have seen the truth. And if you really look at it that way, we've probably only seen half the truth. As bad as it is right now, there's stuff going on that we will never know about until it, comes down to it. But I mean, this nation is really screwed up. It's always been that way. Absolutely. The only thing is now we have phones and we have this great way to communicate really fast with social media. Now, that being said, social media has some problems, huge problems. And that is that people don't check what they send, and they don't get experts to give their opinions. They think that all opinions are equal. And that's a really tough place to be because all opinions aren't equal. We are not in the Stone Age. We have so much information at our fingertips that no one person can really know and be an expert about everything, yet everybody gives their opinion. So it's not good, really not good. So that book should be coming out, and there'll be more revelations that come out of it. I have a couple more. I don't know. Is there anything that you guys feel like talking about that's been going on? I know most people are just like so exhausted with all this, so tired. It's exhausting. It really is. But what's happening that's especially scary is the protesting. Protesters are being stopped and thwarted from protesting, and it's not because they might not even be doing anything wrong per se. Um, it's kind of a free for all with police, if you might have noticed. So we have some serious issues. Prosecutors and lawmakers are now in several states, and I don't know if it's going to spread, but they've responded to mass protests against police brutality. We know that the police are being more brutal now, not less, more. At first, I thought they would behave well to show us how wrong we were, but not a chance. It's what they do. They started as slave catchers, and that mentality and culture has really stuck. And now they have military weapons, and now they have total impunity. I mean, mostly they can do what they want and just claim that they were scared for their life. This nation's out of control. We're living in a police state, as far as I'm concerned. Now they're having people charged as felons, and some are including terrorism charges. You know, it's just unbelievable. Number 4 is worse than Nixon. Nixon is a choir boy compared. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, that's kind of the way I think of it. Trump's done well over 2,000 things that are a conflict of interest, and he just litigates and litigates and litigates until it's all caught in litigation. I mean, he knows that's what he does, and he has a lot of money, and I think more than ever, this Democratic Republic, or supposed Democratic Republic, is kind of doomed. We have people who are holding off their votes. We have people who are, happy he's in, even though they hate racism. We have people who are in a third party vote. I don't think people get it. And a lot of people will say, well, this country was never, good for me anyway. Well, that's very true definitely for Black Americans and African Americans. Oh, absolutely. But unfortunately, we know what a regime is like, because we have other examples in the world of that. And that won't be good for you either. Okay. And I don't know if it'll be great for white people, but it won't be as good as having a Democratic Republic. That I can say. So anybody who votes for Trump at this point, in my mind, is pretty much insane. I mean, I don't care how much you hate Biden. There's a false equivalence that just needs to be spoken about. A lot of people say evil's evil. Well, there's evil and then there's evil. But I truly believe that there are levels of evil. You can do something wrong and have it turn out horrible for some people, but in general be okay and not have remorse. Or you can be like Trump and continuously do evil, rotten, horrific things, lie, steal, borrow, beg, cheat 10 times a day. I mean, there's no comparison. And I understand that 25 years ago, Biden did a horrible thing and he is not sorry for it. And that's a terrible thing. But I don't think he's going to destroy our Democratic Republic. Trump already is and has vowed to continue. He's running on this. It's kind of funny. He's actually running on this tough on crime. Crime in America for the last 10 to 12 years has gotten less and less and less. As we discussed in the last live show, crime isn't getting worse here. Him talking about crime is getting worse, I guess you could say. But the actual crime is going down. So a lot of folks will say, well, yeah, I'm really concerned about crime for this election. I'm really concerned. And then when asked, well, do you have bad things happening in your area? And they'll say, well, no, not in mine. That's the media. That's the, being fed basically propaganda. And we're still doing it. The Senate refused to put through the House's law that would halt Russia from being able to interfere. They want Trump to win, and they're working hard to help him as they did before. So this is all getting real out of control. What do you guys think? Like, tell me what you think. I want to know. So we got a lot of states blindly following this new terrorism charge. I know in my town, about 4 weeks ago, I live in a pretty small town, medium-sized to small town. There was a protest, a Black Lives Matter protest, and it was absolutely peaceful. I mean, I live in a town of fake liberals, mostly white people, really very lily white. There's maybe a handful of people who actually give a shit. And then the rest of them, in name, they give a crap as long as it doesn't impact their life any. But they went out, things are changing a lot, and they went out and had a protest. And there's about 400 people, and it was perfectly quiet. I didn't know we had this, but in my town, they brought out a tank. And right on Main Street, right in my town, they started using military police with rubber bullets and gassing in my town. Nobody did anything wrong. It wasn't, I mean, my kids were there, okay? They didn't get it, but they were there, and their friends were there, and it was insane. So that's what's led me to believe that, when it happens in one place, it's going to happen and it's going to spread, and nobody's really doing much about it. We're all tired, I guess. But Trump's behavior's been normalized. That's why I think he's going to win. And I think we're doomed. So on that lovely note, I have a couple other topics to talk about, but I don't have a ton tonight to do. I just wanted to make sure to come on and tell everyone to hang in there and stay safe. Have you guys heard that there is a real good chance that COVID's going to seriously pick up all over the place in the fall and winter? So I'm not sure what's going to be happening with schools and whatnot, but things are pretty bad. So please stay safe. Do not believe that, oh, we're in the clear. That's when things get really bad, is when people start thinking like, oh, we're good now, Unfortunately, we're not good until we have a vaccine that is actually a real vaccine, not I'm going to get elected because I'm putting out something. I don't trust him. 1/3 of the people in America today won't take it if it comes out. That's how much we don't trust our government anymore. So we're going down. And remember, no one's going to announce this is now a dictatorship. It will just, de facto be one. I mean, no one's going to tell us. So it's kind of scary. Something that's going on that I wanted to bring up before we say goodnight tonight is it has to do with the botched job that this administration's done on the coronavirus. But I wanted to get into detail and explain why. I was reading an article about this medication that people have been, it's remdesivir, and it doesn't cure it, but it makes the length and the duration of how strong the virus attacks the person, it lessens it. So it's a pretty much at this point, everyone who has it's using it for particular cases that the doctors make those decisions. Question: can you think of anyone who you know in your life who is more psychotic and evil than Trump? No, nope. And part of that is simply because I don't know who's in power like that. He has the power to do horrible things to the entire country and the world. So the power has to do with the numbers he has at his disposal to impact. But yeah, no, I don't. Not at all. David, I don't think America will ever recover if he gets a second term, but I don't think he will. I hope he doesn't. I personally think that we're done. If he gets a second term, we might be done already. I mean, I think we have a chance if Biden gets in to maybe undo and fix some of these things, but maybe not. It might be too late, even if Biden wins. This is just my personal opinion. I am not an expert by any means, but I definitely think that if he gets in, he will be. I mean, his son's name is Barron. He has like this. Did you guys see the Republican National Convention? It was just, oh my God, oh no, terrible, terrible. All these lies. People don't know what to believe anymore. People don't trust the government. There are people who literally are indoctrinated with this QAnon. I did a video on QAnon, and a lot of people didn't really watch it. Maybe you guys already know what it's about, but I did a bunch of research to find out what it was exactly about, and it's just batshit crazy. It's not. There's no like. I mean, it's crazy. It's cuckoo, cuckoo. I mean, I want to say like a lot of conspiracy theories have like some little truth to them. This QAnon thing is a crock of shit. It's just it's insanity, and a lot of people believe in it. Like the stats I was reading were terrifying. It's completely ahistorical, ascientific. It's made up. So I don't really understand what's going on. But when we talk about having an educated populace, yeah, I think we kind of blew it on that front. So yeah, and in fact, that kind of leads into the I think Trump's trying to make sure that no cultural competency is taught anywhere that uses public dollars, and that is just, I mean, it's just so classic. The man is a fucking monster. I'm sorry, he is. He is so blatantly evil, not in a biblical sense, just immoral, and he is truly the culmination of all that is sick in a human being, all in one. I don't know how they did that. And then he has his little family protecting him and his cult followers. Somebody's going to get a PhD from this, they're going to, I think that people who are in the psych field and are probably like all competing to get their PhD in, psychology using Trump's presidency. It's a perfect model. He's so transparent about how evil he is. Let me just see here. Global entertainment. Americans like to distort the truth, especially on social media when it comes to politics. It's too polarized now. It's your party against each other with they detest and hate your poor America. Well, yeah, it's really bad. And it's those people in the middle who go about their business, who maybe vote, maybe don't really follow. They're the ones that are going to decide this. People were pretty sure that Hillary was going to win and not Trump, and it didn't happen. And we were a lot less polarized then. It's only gotten worse. So yeah, definitely. I mean, this is really scary. I'm not trying to be the soothsayer of doom. But I'm just trying to be real. I don't see it happening. I have a video coming out that talks about the Dunning-Kruger effect and the danger of it in social media, where everybody's opinion is equal. I'm sorry. Everyone's opinion should not be weighted equally, right? A lot of folks who have not taken the time to study on their own, to educate themselves, to use critical thinking skills. It's kind of important. It's a gift. It's the gift of being human. Unlike animals, we can feel emotions and not have to act on instinct. We can actually think, critical thinking skills, and say, I want to smack that person in the face, but it's probably not a good idea. Okay, that's like really important to be able to analyze and yeah, we're not using, all of us aren't using that. And we are being sucked into the cult that is the Trump's clan. And the reason we can't pull people out with facts is because they've been indoctrinated. It's too late. It's too late. And that's really scary. And that's how it goes, kind of, from what I've read with these dictatorship things. So I think we're kind of screwed. But if we're not, I would love to be wrong. I don't think there's a case in my life where I will be more happy to be wrong. And again, with Biden, I don't think we're guaranteed to make it anyway. Trump's done so much damage. I think we might be doomed, but at least there's a slight chance. And my strategy personally, if Biden does make it, that is just the beginning, because people say the radical left. Oh yeah, it's real radical to not want police to murder your own citizens. Wow, that's just crazy talk. I mean, we don't have a radical left. We have people who say, oh my God, we are so inhumane. They talk about the radical left. I'm laughing my ass off. Compared to most other nations, we don't have a radical left. We're just inhumane. And people who are radical left just basically want people treated according to our Constitution. All of us, not just some of us. So the whole radical left thing is really a joke, at least in my mind. What do you guys think? I mean, it's ridiculous. Let me see. If the elections were held today, this is Dave, Biden would get over 320 electoral votes and the Democrats would have 51 or 52 Senate seats. Let's make this happen. I would love to. Again, personally, not a Biden fan. Okay. I am now. Not because I like him, but because I am so appalled at what this monster has done to our fellow humans. God, a million things come to my head. What he's done to DACA recipients is cruel and sick. What he did to the stealing people's children out of their arms at the border is a crime against humanity. And I don't care what anyone says. In my mind, and then giving them up for adoption when their parents loved them and walked miles and miles and miles from countries to escape countries that we helped to make unstable. God, if that doesn't say it all. Inhumanity is never the right answer, because when we allow inhumanity for one group, your group's next. And I always talk about Martin Niemöller with his first. They came for the trade unionists. I wasn't one of them, so I did nothing. Then they came. He says this a bunch of prose that he says about the guilt he felt for not doing more as a pastor and a person of academia when he saw this happening. And quite frankly, I feel like people who have audiences of any sort, like people who are movie stars, people who are athletes, it's time to think of your fellow humans first and speak up. I would like to see every single person who has an audience in this country speak up and act like humans and use their celebrity status, use their voice to empower others. I know some people have done that, but not that many. We got Hollywood. We have a lot of people who are really famous and who have impact. And I don't hear them speaking out. I don't hear them scrambling and doing everything they can in their power. And, freedom's not free. We think it is, but people died for our right to vote. People died to try to get the South and the North to stop looking at our fellow humans and placing them in a non-human status in order to abuse them and terrorize them. And, it's just, people need to step up. If you have an audience, you need to step the hell up to the plate. And sadly, what's going to happen is slowly over time, and it is slowly over time, this shift, won't really be as noticeable. We've normalized a lot of his behaviors. Again, there won't be an announcement, but right now he is above the law for all practical purposes, and it's only getting worse. So let me read some more comments. Leslie, people, 45 is trying his damnedest to F with the mail and voting. We need to teach people about drop boxes. Every county clerk has a drop box. You don't have to mail in your ballot. Thank you, Leslie. That is an awesome comment. There is one thing about that. Some are getting locked. And I read about that because you came up with this, yes, you can vote if you can't do it in person and go to a drop box, but you got to call ahead and make sure that you have it. It's really bad. Let me see here. Great comment. Thank you so much. I will back it up here. Is it better to go with the devil you know? That's a personal choice, and it's a great question. As I said, I believe there's a false equivalency between Trump and Biden. Biden is not my choice. He is not anywhere near remotely as progressive as he should be. He's not sorry for what he's done wrong and celebrated for what he's done right. Instead, he's just not sorry at all. I think it's extremely important to be able to learn from your past and be really transparent about it. Is he like Trump? Hell no. Oh my God, no. He has a record, okay? A long, long record of, for the most part, being fairly humanistic, okay? The crime bill was an atrocity, and it could have been, it was too rigid, it destroyed lives. But Trump wants to destroy lives every single day and has. He wants private prisons. He wants mass incarceration. He wants a gate around our entire country. He wants babies to be taken from their parents when they're desperate. This is what he wants. He says there are shithole countries in Africa. He is a horrific human being. There's no comparison. I'm sorry. There's just none. I mean, Trump's right now, being charged, he's supposedly, a lady is carrying through her lawsuit for rape. Okay. And now the Justice Department's going to take his case, which is like insane. He's going to use our tax dollars to justify raping a lady, basically. And remember, I can't say enough about this 13-year-old years ago who twice tried to take him to court, and the witnesses were threatened and she was threatened. I mean, this is like mob shit. This is like mafia mob, with Epstein, who we all know about Epstein. They used to party together. This 13-year-old girl who was working for him, they tied her up and raped her. She'd never had sex in her life. This was not, some girl who was promiscuous. Even if it was, she doesn't deserve to be raped. They literally tied her to the bed and fought over who was going to rape her first, who got dibs on her. And there were witnesses in the room too. You should read it's some of the sickest shit I've ever read. But I don't know why I read that, but I read it. I always do that. I always say, don't do it. And then, of course, I do it. Better to go with the devil you know. I have no clue. I think it's better to just research and, pick the least of two. But again, there's zero equivalence. Biden's done horrible things, but Trump's the next Hitler. Big difference. Just my opinion. But Jamie, in Texas, a lady volunteered for the vaccine but had a reaction to it. It affected her spine. Trump said in November we'd have a vaccine. Doctor scientists say no, it's too early to make that claim by Trump. Yeah, that's the thing. See, we have a president who thinks he's a freaking doctor. He's not only not a doctor, he doesn't even understand basics in science. He doesn't understand global warming. He doesn't understand climate change. On the most basic level. I don't know what he was doing during science class. Maybe he paid somebody to sit in for him, but he is not good. He is not knowledgeable about science, yet he has the gall to talk about, that's what I talk about in my next video. It's about the Dunning-Kruger effect and how detrimental it's been to our society. And what it is basically just a little preview. Social scientists define that as something, but I'm going to just say it like it kind of is in a joking way. What that means is people tend to oftentimes be too stupid to realize just how stupid they are. Now, that's a joking way to put it. But what it is you are not good at assessing how much knowledge you have in a certain subject area. You're so bad at it, in fact, because you know so little that you think you know what everyone else knows. In other words, you know so little about something that you can't make a good assessment about how little you know. And that is what we do. It's a human phenomenon. It's not just Americans, it's everybody. It's obviously some evolutionary thing, but being aware of it is the first step. All opinions are not created equal. It's not an insult. There's too much data out there for everyone to be an expert. Even experts and professionals go to other professionals in areas they're not, they haven't studied. Your opinion is not equal to a person who has a PhD and has worked in the field for 40 years. Go figure. Sorry. I'm just saying, nor is mine. But we don't seem to get that. And on social media, we really don't seem to get that because people pass on lies and half truths and just total BS constantly. They don't know who said it. They don't know whether that person had any knowledge of it. If it sounds good to them, they pass it on. And for a country that wants to have an educated populace, that is one of the main ways we keep our democratic republic, by having a fairly educated populace. It's not happening for us. It's not working for us. So this is really bad. I'll take some more comments. Yeah, so great. Yeah, Jamie, I know. And what I meant to talk about with that is simply that we have scientists who are immunologists and whatnot. This is what they do. This is their specialty. There are scientists all over the world in dozens and dozens of countries who are trying to find a cure for this. This is not like, let's work harder. Science is science. It takes a certain amount of time. I mean, it's a scientific method. He can promise anything he wants, but I say he should go first and take it because I do not trust a word that comes out of his mouth. And especially if it's about science, vaccines, seriously. I mean, so that's going to be a joke anyway. He's made it so nobody trusts our government. I mean, really doesn't trust our government. If you didn't trust him before, it's really bad. So I think we're kind of screwed up in that way. If he puts out something early or passes, I mean, the man said to drink bleach. Okay, let's just says it all. I don't know what else to say. He's nuts. Global entertainment. In our town, we had riot police for about 100 people peacefully demonstrating. They called for the city officials to step down because they sanctioned it. Yep. You guys, we're losing our civil rights. We really are. And they're slowly being eroded. And I feel like people aren't paying attention. Les, are you doing anything about 9/11? Not sure what you mean exactly. So maybe tell me more. Am I doing anything about it? Like, oh, are you saying, am I going to have like a special show on 9/11? No, I'm not sure. Tell me what you mean. Sorry. I'm not sure. I'm losing it tonight. Dwayne, hello. If Biden wins, it will take years to erase all the political damage Trump has done. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ethel WV, a 12-year-old white kid with autism, was shot multiple times by the police in Utah yesterday, and nobody is marching for him. Yes, in fact, thank you for pointing that out. I think you maybe didn't hear me. I mentioned it in this talk just now. I wanted to post a video on it yesterday, or was it the day before? I'm not sure. I'm losing track. But because of the rules, the very harsh rules for YouTube, he was 13 or 12 or 13, right? I wasn't sure. And I didn't want to get caught because they had a lawsuit against them. So they are really, really careful. I was going to block out his face. And then I just said, it's not worth it. But I did post that on my Facebook on my Facebook page and whatnot. And yeah, it's a disabled kid. And this speaks, I mean, talk about bringing it, great point, bringing it all together. This child had a mother who took care of him. Autism is a very, very, very rough. I'm a special ed teacher. I know a lot about autism. Very, very tough thing. It's very impacting. If there are, let's just say there's a continuum. It can be very severe and it can be very mild, but this kid sounded somewhere in the middle or severe. I'm not sure. But anyway, we have no, you think we have no health care in America? We have no mental health services in America, unless you're rich. You can pay out of pocket, but it'll bankrupt you unless you're well off. It will, believe me. And this mother is taking care of her child. She calls and tells them exactly what's going on. Her son is having some behavioral issues. She needs a team, you know, a health professional, mental health professional team to come out. Clearly, she knew it existed because she asked for that. Instead, they sent out police officers and they almost killed her kid. And he's maimed for life. I mean, the child has, I read the list of things that, I mean, he's not a big guy. He's been destroyed. And the trauma alone to somebody with, you know, mild to severe autism, it's a horrible, oh, just a horrible thing. And you're right, nobody cares. We're used to it. It's, you know, and of course it's a disabled person. Of course it's a Black person. Of course it's a homeless person. It's always, I never hear about wealthy people's kids getting shot in the back, getting put in prison and kept there, getting brutalized by police. It's always a group of people who are normally oppressed and have historically been oppressed, and we've allowed it in our society. So, I mean, and it's really sad, but thank you for bringing up that point. That's a great point. Yep. Mr. FS Black, hello. Jump on in anytime. Just kind of blabbing, and I want to know what you want to talk about. Leslie, are you going to do a show on 9/11? I am not, actually. I'm not going to do a show on 9/11. I'm going to go to a friend of mine lost his sister, and I'm going to a funeral to be of support. But no, I'm not. That's a good question, though. It's a very good question. But I'm definitely having chat parties on the debates. And I think the debates are going to be kind of interesting because Trump's just a lying sack of shit, basically. And I don't even think he knows he's lying. He's lying. I mean, it's just everything he says is a lie. If his mouth is open, it's a lie. So it's going to be kind of weird. Like, when you can just lie about everything, can you really have a debate? What do you guys think? Can you really have a debate when the person just says, "Oh, fake news. Oh, that's a lie," or, you know, they're playing in another dimension, kind of. They're not playing in this world. You want to say, what are the color of the skies in your world, and how do I come join you? It's like, if he just says that's a lie, that's fake, then I don't really think it's a debate. It's ridiculous. So anyway, thank you for that great question, Les. Appreciate it. Mr. Evans Black, you saw that video. Yeah, really sad. I wanted to post it, but I feel so like my civil rights are being violated. I'm just, the rules on some of these social media, you really have to be careful because they'll just shut you down. And I already got kicked off Facebook for life, and they won't tell me why. They just shut every one of my accounts, and I slipped into 2 of them because I saw that they weren't posting my stuff, and they're doing it again. By the way, they're every time I post in my group, my page under a different name, they were posting them fine. Now they stopped. So I don't know what's going on, but at least I got the YouTube going so I can, you know, keep doing this. But the last thing I wanted to discuss tonight, and you're welcome to jump in and say other things, is the COVID-19 drug that is now being used. It's called remdesivir. It's been used to shorten the duration and the intensity of the COVID virus. It's not a cure. It's plentiful in other developing nations. We just don't have it. And so let me explain. When I read the article, I was like, oh my God. And this really ties it all back to capitalism on steroids. We like our money, and we like our money so much, we'll choose our money over human life. And the only reason I'm smiling is because that's unconscionable. It's disgusting, but that's who we are. How do I know this? Because that's what we're doing. So anyway, this during the coronavirus in Texas, when they had a surge this summer, a doctor named Thomas Patterson kind of got vocal about it and said he didn't have enough of the antiviral drug remdesivir for about a third of his patients, or actually 2/3 of his patients he didn't have enough for. He had to pick which patients would get it and which patients wouldn't. That's probably a doctor's living nightmare, as it is all of our living nightmare. I mean, he had to pick who deserves to live, basically, who deserves to possibly get over it faster and have less serious of an impact. He said he was forced to pick and choose who would get the drug. Meanwhile, Dr. Kabir in Bangladesh had plenty. Robbie, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. In Bangladesh, he had lots of that drug. And this is his quote: "We have no shortage of remdesivir in our hospitals," said Kabir, a professional of medicine at the Dhaka Medical College in Bangladesh. Bangladesh, I know. Where have you been? I've been here. In Bangladesh is considered a developing nation. And this is his quote. He actually said Bangladesh is a third world country. And this is the man from Bangladesh, the doctor, saying this. And we have sufficient amounts. It's really surprising that the U.S. doesn't. There should be plenty of remdesivir there. And there's more. Oh, but there's more. A CNN investigation into why this is happening. Doctors are having to pick and choose who gets the drug, the one drug that can make a difference. Not cure it, but really make a difference. And this is what happened. Their investigation found that doctors in several developing countries report ample supplies of the drug, while U.S. patients have faced shortages all over the place, even though the drug is made in a U.S. pharmaceutical company and was developed with the help of U.S. tax money. Kind of yelling that for a reason. And as of when I got this article, physician, I guess it was yesterday, as of like press were saying yesterday that physicians, advocates, and members of Congress were like losing it over this failure to secure a large supply of this drug. We make it, our nation, our taxes helped pay for its development. We don't have enough. And developing nations have enough. And I'm glad they do. I'm damn glad they do. I don't want them to not have enough, but we should have enough too. And the reason we don't is kind of interesting. It's classic American. It says some whose suffering could be reduced and hospitalized. This is a quote. Received shortened. Let's see. Some whose suffering could be reduced and hospitalization shortened received no relief because of Trump's refusal to act. And that is Representative Doggett, who's a Texas Democrat. And that was a quote from him. We could quickly expand the supply if Trump would belatedly exert some leadership and do so. Trump has the ability to do this, and he hasn't. And of course, he will say, what, huh? I don't know. I'm not responsible. Yes, actually, Mr. Trump, you are responsible. You're the freaking supposed president of the United States. I'm so sick of him not taking responsibility for anything. I didn't know, give me a break. We wouldn't let our children get away with that shit, let alone a freaking president. Other nations are able to use the generic of it. So they're not in short supply. We are not allowed to use the generic of it. We're only allowed to use the product. There's no generic in the United States because there's no competition. because the company will make all the money. And people are dying so this company can make their money. And our president's kind of going with it. So I don't know how else to put it. Really, really bad. Really scary. So we got scary stuff going down on every front. And I hate to say it, but I think it's going to get worse. So I don't have much more to talk about tonight. I definitely have my rant coming out on the Dunning-Kruger effect and why it is harming all of us. But I appreciate everybody being here. Mr. F.S. Black, Kim, I'm not sure if you heard, but there was recently an incident in Buffalo where an off-duty cop assaulted a black man and sat on his chest while waiting for on-duty police to show. I did not. I will look right into it. Goodness, do you want to say anything about it or post anything? Please do. I didn't. Is that breaking news today, or is that just because what I'm having happen is because of the influx, like there's so much news constantly happening, breaking news, that I'm missing stuff. And people send me stuff all the time. If you think, you have breaking news and have a moment to send me, I would be thrilled. The where to post is up above in the comments here. You can get a hold of me on my page, and I'd appreciate it. A private message. Just send me anything. You don't even have to put an explanation. If you send it, I'll know that it's important enough to look into it, and I'll research it and see where it's at and what's happening with it. And if I'm able to do it, I'll do it. Part of the, I want to close with a quote. Thank you for that. I just, like, even today, I missed a young black man in June, was it? The tapes came out sometime in August, and I missed it. Was shot in the back. We have 50 of these states and all this corrupt policing going on, and things kind of trickle in as they come. And the more noise Trump makes, the more the media turns to him. So it's hard to get various cases from everywhere, but I'm missing a ton, and I'm doing the best I can. It's really sad, but I sure appreciate people sending me breaking news. A lot of times I'd already seen it, but that's okay. If it's breaking news to you in the next, in the first couple hours, I'm good with it. He's since tried to justify it by saying the man was causing trouble, spitting on parked vehicles, and swung a skateboard at him. None of this has been proven. And Mr. F.S. Black, I'm glad you brought that up as a point. Our police and kind of some of our citizens have forgotten the gun, the whole murder the person with a gun is really supposed to be a very last resort. It seems like you look at a police wrong and they shoot you. You look like this young man. I don't know if he was a boy or a man. I think he was pretty young. Maybe he was a young man. He was a black man, and they thought he was suspicious. He ran. They shot him. It's like, oh my God, you can't kill someone because you think they're suspicious. That's not right. Yet they're getting away with stuff like this. They're above the law. We're living in a police state, and we always have been. But since we've been watching the protests, we've been really seeing the police for what they do. And they're not just doing it in the protests to black people. So other white people are like, hey, they're breaking the rules. I thought they only did it to black people. I'm serious. People, they might not be saying that, but in their head. And so they're taking an interest, which, whatever moves them, I guess. I don't know. But this is starting to, white folks are starting to realize that, yeah, when we by doing nothing and just turning a blind eye, our fellow humans get traumatized and terrorized by police, we're doing no favors to ourselves, because our group's next. And it doesn't seem like a hard lesson to learn, but it seems like we as white folks in general just don't kind of get that. And I don't know why. I want to close on a Robert Reich. Thanks for that information, Mr. F.S. Black. I'll definitely look into that. And they always say, oh, they had this, they had that, and they make up anything they can to justify it. But I've said before, and I'll say it again: these cops are glorified thugs with badges. Absolutely. And if you look at them at the protests, basically there'll be a non. I mean, this is just such a classic example because there's so many cameras on these protests. People will be non-violently protesting, and then all of a sudden, one of these guys decides, they need a steroid fix, or I don't know what's wrong with them, and they start getting nuts, and then they all just attack the people. It's crazy. This is a police state, and if your state or city hasn't had it happen, you'll be next, because it's widespread everywhere now, not just murdering Black people, but at every protest. I mean, it's really crazy. Really crazy. They've gone nuts. They've shown everybody who they are. And if you nails and glitter, power trip, totally. And if you believe that you're not next, then you're being you're not using your brain, because this is what they do. And if they personally don't do it, they cover up for people who do, and they don't turn them in. So they might as well have done it themselves. On that closing note, Robert Wright has to say, Trump is not doing this alone. Fox News is sending his lies to 4.2 million viewers each night. Twitter's conveying them to his 83 million followers several times a day. Facebook is targeting them in the tens of millions. This isn't freedom of speech, he says. It's the seedbed of fascism. And he's one of my favorite people to follow. He's very, very smart. He's a good teacher. He was a professor, or maybe he still is, at Berkeley, UC Berkeley in California. He's worked in a number of administrations. He does not work in Trump's administration. He sees Trump for who he is. His name's Robert Wright. He draws really well, teaches really well, and he gets it. And I really, really can't say enough good things about him. He explains things so that you don't have to be an expert in the field to get it. So he's really good. Thank you so much for watching. And hopefully, please check out my last two videos I did. One was on, oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm losing my mind. Well, the one that's coming out is going to be on the Dunning-Kruger effect. And the other one was on QAnon, a lengthy video on explaining what is this stuff and why should we care, and we should care. I took 8 different videos and put them together, like a kind of a best of what I thought. And then I did some research myself, and I actually went onto my own a Facebook feed of somebody I knew who was a follower of QAnon, and pulled off actual posts from this conspiracy group that so many are following, and made a direct relationship between the Russians and what they're doing and the post that I'm looking at. It was just kind of weird because it was really obvious. I looked it up and got 1 million possible hits. One article went to the one article, and it wasn't a legit source. It was an article that basically was a blank piece of paper with the same writing as the meme I saw. It had no citations. It was like a piece of paper that like anyone could have just typed anything. Really bizarre. So yeah, it was talking about 62. It was talking about QAnon has this kind of strange belief that they say Democrats are pedophiles, and that they I'm going to say this, they eat children like they're cannibals. So it's like, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I'm sorry. It's just the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life, but you wouldn't believe how mainstream it's becoming. I've read 5 articles on it, and I was like, Mama, I was like, I need to be in a mental hospital. I'm scared. It's really mainstream now. People, they just want to be involved and believe, even if it's absolutely ludicrous. And a lot of what Trump does is he'll do things he does and then say the opposite. He'll blame it exactly what he's doing and say someone else is doing. So this is so crazy. So thanks for being here. Please give me thumbs up if you like the show because it gets my videos to go higher on the YouTube. And if you believe like I do that it is way past time for white folks in America to step up to the plate and learn our real racial history, not to be heroes, not to be on Facebook, to be human, because it's the right thing to do. These are our fellow humans. And also because we're next. Yeah. Oh, that's some of the weirdest propaganda you've ever heard. Mr. F. Select, if you have not seen the video, it's all from, really legit news sources that all kind of combine a kind 8 videos. It's like, I thought it was a joke. It's not a joke. That's what they believe. That's like tenet to their, cannibals? Like what? Yeah. So if you watch the video, it's like the second to last one up. It's pretty bad. So anyway, please check out my last videos, watch them, and send them to people. For example, if you know somebody who you can't stand telling, stuff to, maybe just place it where they can see it, because I think a lot of people, especially Black, African American people, people who are, brown, indigenous, you got to be exhausted. This is just exhausting, is what it is. It's just exhausting. Some of my 101 videos, anti-racism 101, are for beginners. Some of my rants are not. But if I had a Facebook thing, I would be placing them here and there. And just, it's kind of too late. People just don't want to learn. They don't care. I don't get it. It's beyond my ability to understand. But we got to just keep trying, guys. I'm going to keep trying till the election. And after that, if Biden does by chance win, that's when all the work starts. We're not progressive. We need to pounce on his administration. I mean, pounce. This nation wants progressive. Bernie could have won, I think. He was really getting a lot of traction, so there's a lot going on. We're confused. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. And hopefully I will see you somewhere online or at the next live show. And don't forget to bring topics you want to talk about. And you can call in. And a couple people are going to be on the show. And I just need to simply get a hold of them and do a little pre-meet. And then we can schedule our time. So things are busy, but I'm very thankful that you're here. So be safe. This is going to get worse. I keep thinking, how could it get worse? And it's like, I got to shut up and stop. I got to stop saying that. It's going to get worse. It's getting worse. It's crazy. So thank you guys for watching and have a great night and a safe week until I see you next. Good night, everybody. Look for my video coming out. It's a crazy one. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Now.